There's an amazing amount of decorative stitches on this machine, but you won't know how pretty they look until you actually sew them out. So touch your decorative stitch button and notice the 6 folders. In each one of these folders, there's lots and lots here. Every time you pick one, they'll show right here on the side. You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller, you can open this up so you can see it more and just keep sewing them out. One of the things that we recommend at our store is to sew out all your decorative stitches on some fabric. And when you look at them, you notice how totally different they look on the fabric than they actually do on the screen. They're going to look 10 times better. You can try them with variegated thread. You can sew them on denim and see a little bit more variety here as well. So just take some time and take some fabric, put some stabilizer underneath, and start stitching. So one of the things that's here, I was kind of in the 900s and stitching stitch number 911 there. I'm going to just put it back in here. I'm going to show you some settings that I like to use when I sew out my decorative stitches. I like to just use the presser foot width as I sew one row after another. That's easy. You don't have to mark your fabric, and you seem to stay fairly parallel from row to row. You could put the seam guide on if you want a little bit more space in between. You're going to notice that as you step on the foot control that gets tiring after a while, so why not go ahead and start to use your start-stop button. And as you push that, it will go ahead. You'll need to touch it for about just a second and a half. If you don't want it going so fast, adjust the speed down just a little bit and then just sit back and enjoy the process. Now, something else that I'll usually use is what's called a pattern end. This feature here is going to finish out your pattern kind of as you approach the end. You can kind of see as the patterns are repeating when you want to actually push it. Now, before I actually get a little further and push it, let me show you in the settings what I've done to program this stitch to make it super easy for the decorative stitches. So as you go into the sewing settings and for functions, look for the picture of the pattern end and go into it. So what I want it to do is when it's done is to actually go ahead and when I push it, finish the pattern, then I want it to cut the thread and I want it to lift the foot. If I need it to actually lock, I could have the locking stitches. Usually for these types of samples, I don't worry about locking it, but you sure could. And I would do like the little cluster, so it's all in one hole and not a lot of extra spaced out stitches, which they're small, but you don't need the extra stitches at the end. So watch this. So we're going to come out of here. I'll go ahead, I think I'm where I want to be. I'll just go ahead and I'm going to sew with my presser foot here, but I'll go ahead and push that. You'll see a little stop sign come up. There's the end of the stitch, the cut, and the lift. And I didn't have to do anything other than just let it finish. So yes, I probably could have gotten one more truck on here, but we could easily just go ahead when I cut this, is just even that up, and it's no big deal. Usually about 4 inches of decorative stitches is enough to really give you an idea of what those stitches are really all about. And if you kind of start about the same way, usually what I'll do is come in with some pinking shears or a rotary cutter with a pinking blade, make that really pretty, and then put that in like a sheet protector or something that really makes a little reference guide for all the stitches that I have in the machine. It's nice, relaxing type of work to do, and there's lots of settings that you can try to change, like as you're working with some of your decorative stitches, you want to make some wider, some narrower, and spread out. You can do some different settings here. You can even go ahead and put a double needle on and see how wonderful the stitches look when you go and stitch them all out. There's tons of varieties as you go to sew with all the built-in stitches. So have some fun, put some variegated thread on, and try out all the stitches that are in your machine.